stressed. We may show the signs of stress, we may not. To ease your stress today, we have a very good session coming up with Suruchi Saini. She is our guest today. She is an MA and she is a board certified licensed professional counselor and a telemental health provider, certified clinical trauma professional, and a yoga teacher, certified yoga teacher. And she treats with a holistic approach. For over 14 years, she has been helping individuals and families with psychological counseling, and she has done her contribution through virtual and consultation through virtual and office sessions. She has also been empowering people through her motivational speaking seminars on evidence-based research in psychology and neurosciences, along with philosophy of yoga and Ayurveda. She has a master's degree in counseling and a bachelor's in psychology. She served as a senior clinician at Rutgers, UBH, and that's how, we need to connect and, educate people about how they can manage their day-to-day lives. United States of America, specifically, the tri-state area, New York, New Jersey area, have been highly, impacted due to this coronavirus. And people have lost their loved ones. I mean, in our own personal knowledge, we know now that actual deaths have happened, that actually people have fallen sick. For some people in other states, they might still think, oh, is it real? Is it for real that people are dying? And I cannot even explain the feeling of losing a loved one or a person or a friend with whom we have spent good time, and they just suddenly, go away on a shortest notice.
Right. True.
Yeah. So, I end up calling you doctor, and how do I address? I'll address you Suruchi only, right?
Yes.
Sorry. Thank you. Suruchi, first and foremost, tell me something more about your practice. I know I read it as an introduction, and I, of course, stuttered in between. But 14 years is a long time. Tell us something about your experience, treating different kind of patients and your background.
Right. Sure. Thank you for asking that question. So 14 years, you're absolutely right. It has been a very long journey. And along with clients, I think I learned a lot. When I was helping my clients, I was also, it was an ever evolving person inside me. Yes, I help them officially, but my clients also kind of help me in learning, the more depths of life and what can actually go wrong and what are day-to-day things or the challenges that they face. So a lot has happened in past 14 years. I started with I'll go really 14 years back. So when I started my internship, it was with actually women and men suffering with domestic violence.
Wow.
So that was a very intense program. Even though when my internship ended, I continued to volunteer at their institution. And that time I was in San Antonio, Family Violence Prevention Services. A wonderful boss, a wonderful mentor, and a lot of experience. So I actually end up doing groups for people who were victims and on the other side also. So it gave me a very interesting aspect, of lives of people. So that was, and on the side, I also did a lot of, people suffering with schizophrenia, bipolar disorder. So I kind of did 2 internships by choice. I didn't have to. And then moving to New Jersey, I worked with behavioral healthcare where it was a residential program. So it was a combination of a lot more, again, people suffering with bipolar, schizophrenia, extremely high anxiety, PTSD, which was quite their ADHD, and they were not able to really function fully, in day-to-day life. And then, of course, I moved on to Rutgers, where I started as a habilitation counselor and moved on to the senior clinician and worked with a lot of mental health situations. What actually stood out in all these years was that, I found like South Asian community was really not taking initiative in seeking out help. So that was
Absolutely.
a major, almost, I'll say 99% of my clients were all non-South Asian community. So that's what I was doing. So when I moved to my practice, it was a long time coming. I knew it that, just having, to help people with mental health or, suffering with anxiety or depression, I wanted to do more. And I still remember when I did my first lecture in US, that was in, I think, 2005. Um, that was the first time I combined actually psychology with the information from yoga and just a very basic from Ayurveda, and it was very much appreciated.
Very nice.
And I'm talking about 2005. There was very little from neuroscience. So that was the time when I actually talked or started talking about that our gut integrity influences our brain, and our brain influences our gut integrity. So basically, in simple words, our abdomen and our brain are connected. And at that time, there were not many buyers. I can tell you that. I still
Oh
remember
my
the
God. It's interesting. Even now, for me, it's new. You said gut, abdomen, and brain are connected. Awesome.
yes.
So,
So after that, I gave many lectures on the side along with my job. And more, I kept on talking to people, speaking at events, like how just as simple as, sleeping a lot more, drinking lots of water, how it can influence. So, of course, slowly and slowly, people started seeing the influence of that. I used a lot of holistic approach in my
mhm.
individual sessions also, and way before when all this revolution started of gut integrity and everything. So the holistic bonfire actually came into picture because I wanted to present a platform to all the clients and all the people that when you come and meet with me, you are not only coming for because somebody has any mental health issue like bipolar or schizophrenia. You are also welcome to talk to me just because if you're having day-to-day challenges, maybe you don't need a therapy, you just need a basic counseling or just coaching, life skills. And if we go by all the yoga practices and meditation and mindfulness, these tools are wonderful. They can really, really change anybody's life inside out. So holistic bonfire actually came from that. My idea of holistic bonfire was that all of us, we are like a bonfire. And like in culture we do yagna. So you
Right.
put ghee, you put other
Everything.
samagri, you put everything,
Absolutely.
and then the fire is made. So all of us are like that. We need multiple things to be added to our life to live a better, happy, healthy life.
Amazing. This is so impressive. Wow. Such deep thinking behind idea and ideology of holistic bonfire and long journey. In fact, you started off with domestic violence cases and of course went on to treat different kind of people.
Yeah.
First and foremost, you know, when we talk about mental health,
Hmm.
one, two, when we talk about mental illness,
Hmm.
there is a lot of misconception amongst people.
Hmm.
People, when they feel that they are suffering mentally somewhere, this mental illness,
Hmm.
they take it as a sick stigma.
Right.
Unfortunately, society has not played a positive role there either, you know,
Mhm.
from the understanding perspective that mental illness is just like any other illness.
Yes.
So I would want you to first throw light about mental health and mental illness, how you segregate and how they are combined together.
Hmm. So mental illness, I'll say it's more like a where the treatment and the medical community or the psychiatric community kicks in, right? So that will be more related with the mental illness part. And mental illness is and can be part of mental health, which is a much broader spectrum. So mental health also includes self-care, it also includes life skills, It also includes family relationships. It also includes how to adjust to change. It also includes your professional health, your financial health, everything that you can think of. It comes under mental health. Reason being, when any of this is disrupted, it affects us. When we
Absolutely.
talk about mental illness in isolation, it is precisely, at least up to my understanding, it is precisely towards when somebody has a diagnosis and they are going through a proper treatment, or they need a treatment. So that's how you can think. So mental health, under mental health comes the mental illness, which is one part of it. That's
Right.
how I understand, and that's how I share.
And that is very much treatable from that
Very
perspective.
much treatable.
So when people avoid, see, people may have anxiety attacks. They might have panic attacks. They might have depression. They might have stress.
Hmm.
Now, these are the things where people still stop going to their, doctors or, healthcare professionals for this treatment, saying, oh, I will get diagnosed with something.
Hmm.
Now, there's self-diagnosis, this Googling is really dangerous because it is not a higher level of mental illness, basically, if we speak about, it's not very, very damaging if it is controlled at the right time and counseled at the right time.
Mhm.
So what I want to know, from you is perspective of assessing certain degrees of, mental health, where you, of course, fall into a situation when you could be anxious, could have be depressed,
Mhm.
could have panic attacks.
Mhm.
People are not able to know where they've crossed the boundary, where their, mental health is suffering, basically.
Mhm. Right. I think before I say something, I just want to make sure that I say it there, that information shared in this session does not replace any required or ongoing treatment. I just don't want
Absolutely.
people to think, oh, this is a good suggestion, let me stop my treatment.
No, not
Well,
at all.
no, please don't do that.
Absolutely.
So going back to the question, see, um, it again, mental health, I think people are evolving. At least I'll say it has happened a lot more in past 5 years, I would say. But yes, it is still a taboo, and people still feel that if I am anxious, oh, this is normal. We must understand that what is one, I don't know what is normal, right? Second, when people say that I am anxious and this is how I have always been, we are not supposed to, we don't need to be like that. We need to be self-aware of that, I can go through my day without having almost a panic attack, without having a heart racing or a mind racing, or having hot flashes or sweating unnecessarily. There is a way to help myself. There are lots of medications available, there are lots of tools available, there are lots of professionals available, and there you can have a multi-professional team available. Like it could be a therapist, along with a psychiatrist, and your maybe yoga teacher, or a physical instructor, or a combination of this. So anxiety can happen to anybody. There are no
Right.
exceptions. And actually, I think every third or fourth person is anxious,
Mm-hmm.
as far as I remember. So
Absolutely.
this is becoming more and more common, but that does not mean it's okay to be anxious. We need to do something about it, because if anxiety happens, or for that matter, when stress happens during one event, our bodies and minds are pretty well equipped to take it. But imagine if that anxiety or that stress is happening again and again and again, and it becomes chronic.
Mm-hmm.
That's where most of the problems begin, and we don't realize it, but that when we are anxious, when we are releasing cortisol, which is a stress hormone, it can really play havoc with our vitals, especially kidneys, heart. So it's not what people usually say anxiety is here. No, it's not. It's all over the body. And we must do something about it. And there are some very easy ways that anybody can do it.
I have a lot of questions for that. Thank you so much for these inputs, Suruchi. Basically, first and foremost, we'll go, first thing first, stress management when we're talking about. So let's talk about stress. What are the mental symptoms, from the psychological perspective, and what are the bodily symptoms, physiological symptoms? Because people still are not able to know. And I know you will throw more light on that, rather I speak. So
Sure.
please.
I will definitely try my best. So first of all, I would give a proper definition of stress, right? So stress is a state of mental or emotional strain or tension resulting from adverse or very demanding circumstances. For viewers, I will repeat, stress is a state of mental or emotional strain or tension resulting from adverse or very demanding circumstances. So adverse circumstances, most of human beings, we understand which are the adverse circumstances. Some things that we skip in day-to-day life is that very demanding circumstances can also put us into a high stress zone. Example, it could be a wedding in the family. It could be a graduation, an exam, an interview, moving. Actually, if you go by the stress list, day-to-day stressors that we human beings face, moving is one of the major stressors. Whether you are moving by choice or whether you are moving by force. So stress is something we must understand. Anytime when you feel any strain or tension, your body is going through stress. And please don't say that, oh, I'll be fine tomorrow. When your body is going through something, you need to stop. You need to practice a little bit of stillness or some relaxation technique, whatever works for you if you are familiar with it. And then you move on to the next thing. Granted, people can say that we don't have a lot of time, that we can do it every time we can stop. I get it. But I find it very difficult to be convinced when people say that even on the weekend, we don't have time for self-care.
Yes.
It's not possible. I can tell you, if a friend or anybody asks you, like, can you spare 2 hours to me? You will run, but about you, and especially if you are the caretaker. So this is the definition of the stress that I would like all the viewers to remember. And you can actually Google it. It's the dictionary definition of the stress, right? I'm sorry, Joseph, what was your other question?
So this one was the stress. These are the symptoms I was asking, the bodily, psychological, emotional symptoms, and the bodily symptoms also show up.
Right.
Because stress impacts, as you said, kidneys and all. Just throw some light so that people are aware what all gets damaged when they are under stress. They just think it's only in the mind.
Oh, no. It's all
That's what I wanted to throw light on.
So the psychological symptoms of stress is definitely, first of all, high anxiety, inability to focus, racing thoughts, inability to sleep. You can take it into your physical symptoms. You can take it into psychological, emotional symptoms. Stress also affects relationship a lot more, right? Stress will affect your appetite. It will affect your working relationships, family relationships, your socialization. People start to isolate. People will start to get angry, frustrated. Sometimes abuse kicks in very stressful relationships. And these are all psychological, emotional symptoms of stress. And sometimes I have actually, I have done a couple of lectures on compassion fatigue for nurses, and there were doctors. So I still remember there were a couple of nurses who came after the lecture and said that we are almost on the verge of leaving our profession.
Oh my God.
Yes. So that was the accumulation of stress because they were so dedicated to their work. And the compassion fatigue, which is also a form of stress, actually happens to, the personalities which are very dedicated, which are very hardworking, and, a personality type, basically. So we have to be very, very careful of, if you love something, whether it's your family, whether it's your work, whether it's your home, whether it's something else, you have to do self-care to break the flow of stress into your psychological part of your body. Now comes the physical symptoms. So either we put on weight or we lose a lot of weight, right? We are unable to
Right.
digest food. There are ulcers, there are gastric issues. We start to eat more sugar and more fried stuff. Basically, sugar and salt intake increases when we are stressed, which can be very harmful for your brain. Then there are also, like I said, inability to sleep, inability to connect with people, and
Right.
inability to connect with yourself. People continue to do things, but if you ask them, what they did like an hour back, they probably won't remember it. That
Wow.
is a short sign of high stress. So basically, it continues to accumulate inside you. It affects every vital that you can think of, every single vital.
As you said, the kidney, the gut, the
Blood
stomach.
pressure, yes, absolutely. Panic attacks, you
Wow.
know, you think of anything, stress affects every single part of your body.
So if the stress crosses the boundaries, when it is, we misuse our body being stressed.
Mhm.
So we may end up with multiple diseases, this means.
Yes, absolutely. I have seen people who eventually end up being diagnosed with autoimmune diseases. We don't have any cure for it, up to my knowledge, but I think stress plays havoc with their bodies and minds. Anybody who has an autoimmune disease, stress plays a huge part on it. Inflammation, just like that. If they don't have a self-care, if they don't have a routine, if they don't have a schedule, it will not go right for them.
My goodness.
Yes.
Wow. Nobody could even think of stress causing so much of damage, I mean, this is what it is.
Yes,
Thanks for educating us from that
absolutely.
perspective.
Absolutely.
Because we take it too lightly. Yeah, life में बहुत stress है यार. That casual note is only there that they quote, but this quote itself is damaging
Yes.
because you are overlooking it by just saying it. That's it.
Right. Actually, I think some stress, our human resilience is so great and so big. Some stress we can take it. Like, for example, a mother giving the birth, right? And if somebody falls ill in our family, we jump on, we do anything, but that does not mean we are not stressed. So taking care or jumping to help others is very good. But when you have your time, we must remember to sit back,
Right.
relax, and rejuvenate ourselves before we take on to the next responsibility. That's where people forget to take care of themselves.
Wow. Thank you for these valuable inputs, Suruchi.
Sure.
In fact, now, one thing that I definitely want to ask you with current situation is, of course, one is the normal stress that has built up over different issues. Now we know point focus things,
Hmm.
loss of a loved one,
Yeah.
loss of a friend, a relative, or a neighbor, or a known person in our community. What we are facing right now is this. Second is people falling sick, the fear causing the stress, fear of the disease that we may get it, we might have it,
Mhm.
or we are suffering or whatever. All these perspectives,
Hmm.
these stresses, current situation are really dangerous.
Yes.
And then fear of loss of job, unemployment, as you know what the situation is.
Mhm.
In this time of this misery, your guidance is most valuable. Tell us about these stresses a little bit, and then we will talk about how we should manage the stress.
Sure. So, for the loss of the loved ones, this is definitely very painful, in COVID or not in COVID, during COVID. The COVID has made it more difficult because in all the cases that I am aware of, people were not able to say goodbye. Uh,
Absolutely.
yes,
So unfortunate here,
it's very unfortunate. In that situation, I would highly recommend that you reach out for the people that you trust, for support groups online, for professionals, and my or I always say that besides and take your time to grieve. Grief has different people grieve in different ways. If anybody ever tells you that why are you crying like a baby, or strong people don't cry. Do not ever listen to them.
True.
Crying is cleansing. We release endorphins when we cry, which are natural painkillers. So if crying helps you, please go ahead. The only thing I would say is, as the days go by, when we lose our near and dear ones, try your best to not engage in grieving part of the day. I mean, grieving part throughout the day. Try
Right.
your best. It will be difficult. And I know that I can relate with it.
Right.
It will be difficult, but I would still recommend that, put a kind of a window to it. And I have suggested this to so many clients, and it really works very well. So I always end up telling them that, have a particular corner of your home, or try to relive some good memories of the person who you have lost, so that you have plenty of time and emotions to express and to remember the person, but make sure your rest of the day does not get carried away with it too, right?
Right.
So grieving, again, for everybody, grieving is very important part of life. If we don't grieve appropriately, it can become a very difficult part later it can come out in many years. Sometimes it can turn into a PTSD also. The trauma, the direct, indirect trauma. So grieving is extremely important. Please be very mindful of that. As far as the fear of the COVID,
in fact, Suruchi, pardon me, we will go to the fear of COVID also. Again, I'll have to take one short break because it's getting so interesting right now. We've spoken about the loss of the person right now. So we'll go for a short break right now, and we'll come back again, and we will discuss about, of course, about the COVID and other factors as well. So my dear viewers, we're going for a short break right now, and we'll come back soon. So just hang in there. We'll be back.
Suhag Jewelers, timeless jewelry for generations. Suhag Jewelers, timeless jewelry for generations.
Tech Insurance Agency, fully dedicated for IT companies, providing employee benefits, business insurance at Visitors Insurance. For medical benefits, we provide group medical plans, group dental plans, group vision plans, life plans, AD&D plans, STD, LTD. More info at 51791788686 or www.techinsurancinc.com.
Suhag Jewelers, timeless jewelry for generations. Suhag Jewelers, timeless jewelry for generations.
Jyotsna, and we are talking about stress management with Suruchi Saini, who is a licensed professional counselor, and of course, lot many decorated titles to her name. So Suruchi had been guiding us about stress, the symptoms, the mental, emotional symptoms, psychological symptoms, and the physiological symptoms that we have spoken in the first half. And we also did speak about the loss of loved one and how the stress creeps in our life and how do we manage. So Suruchi was giving a brief about that. And of course, we will be talking about COVID-related stress now. So Suruchi, of course, looks like I got a message that we lost some sound in between probably.
Okay.
So you can just speak a little bit about the loss of the loved one and how not to grieve and how to engage yourself a little bit, in a brief, and then we will proceed with the COVID-related stress.
Okay, sure. So with the grieving part, as I was saying, grieving is very important process after we lose a loved one. First of all, if what I was saying was, if somebody tells you not to cry, or if you feel that I am a strong person, I cannot cry, that will not be fair. That will actually that can work against you in the long run. It can turn into some kind of a chronic anxiety or panic attack or even trauma. So grieving is very important. You can have your way. Sometimes people get upset. Sometimes people get angry. Sometimes people cry. Sometimes people sleep a little bit more to help them. But grieving is important. And of course, try your best to reach out to a professional. You can reach out to a counselor. You can reach out to a social worker. There are, I'm sure there are support groups online, especially these days.
Mm-hmm.
If there are any, reach out to your trusted family and friends, because when in grief, when we are talking to somebody, it usually helps a lot more. And of course, I know we'll talk about the tools, but journaling also come very handy. Simply writing your thoughts by yourself in a confidential notebook.
Wow, this is amazing. Okay.
Yes. So grieving is very important. And like I said, try your best not to, you can assign a certain time, maybe 1 hour, 2 hours to go through your grieving process, so that rest of the day you can continue to do what you need to do.
Perfect. Thank you, Suruchi. I'm getting one guest here who wants to ask a question. So I'm admitting the person, live on the show right now.
Sure.
So let's see. Hello. I think the audio is lost, or probably the person went off. If I get, hi Prakash, please put your question. Can you be louder? We cannot hear you.
So you do have privacy, right? So
we can barely hear you, Prakash. Maybe you can call us on our number 631-867-1289. I'll be able to take your call there. You can call us live 631-867-1289, and I'll be able to admit you there. I mean, I can ask you. You can ask your question, and I will. Suruchi will answer back. So you may please drop out right now, and you can join in from that platform, basically.
I think he muted his, I could see the red.
Yeah, he has muted himself, so, but still.
Yeah.
Prakash, you may leave, so I will just remove him right now from the session. Unfortunately, I cannot keep them with us due to our privacy reasons. So, Suruchi, interesting. Thank you so much for those inputs about, grieving about the loved one, And now, when we speak about, okay, I'm getting a call there now. Now I'll take this call here.
Sure.
Hello. Hello. May I know your name, please? Yeah. What's your name?
My name is Suruchi. My name is Suruchi Pandey, and I'm calling from Colorado.
From Colorado. That's so nice to hear, Suruchi, that you're watching us from Colorado. Please shoot your question to Suruchi.
Okay, so regarding stress, so I have 3 kids, and kids are home. How do I deal with this? With the stress? See, don't get me wrong. I love my kids dearly; they're my life. But you know what I'm saying? Like this constant having the kids around and trying to feed into their demands, and they're constant push and pull and tug. How do I deal with that stress?
All right. So this is an adorable kind of stress, but it is a deep stress for all the moms out there. Thank you so much, Suti. And yes, Suruchi will answer now. Suruchi, I hope you got the question. She's asking about how to manage the stress of 3 kids at home, doing everything with them, catering to their demands and everything.
Okay, and her name is Stuti?
Stuti Pandey.
Stuti, okay. Hi, Stuti, that's a beautiful name. So with the kids, that's a very, very common, situation that is happening all around, especially right now, because everybody is working from home or home. Stuti, are you a single parent?
No,
No, I'm not.
Okay, all right.
My husband helps immensely. But,
Okay.
there are certain things where most of the time they come to mommy if they're hungry and they're constantly hungry, or they're, so I have food
so
orders.
mom is always the boss,
Very close. Yeah. And so they're constantly coming to mommy most of the time. Either they're hungry or they're fighting or they want something or just to share their feelings and thoughts. Because they're also getting bored. They don't have any extra outside activities. Their music, swimming, everything has been curtailed for now. And plus the work situation, it has not slowed down at all. So, it's the internal pressure of being able to manage work, plus also feeding into their demands.
I see.
Thank you so much, Stuti. I hope you're watching us as well. I may put you on mute here and you can watch us equally, on the TV platform. So Suruchi, point is very much there, when we speak about stress. Now, I must say that kids also are getting stressed out. Yeah, it's a mutual level of stress that needs to be addressed. I'm adding my question there with Struti's question, parents handling the stress of kids and then kids under lockdown, under arrest. That stress.
Yes.
Address both.
Yes, sure. So first, for the moms, like I said, this is a very common happening, and now it is obviously, it has been aggravated by the whole lockdown, what is happening around us. So I would love to say to Stuti and all the moms listening that if you can take an hour off, please take an hour off, negotiate with your husband somehow that, okay, you take care of the kids for 1 hour, and that 1 hour is mine without any interruption, and then I'll give you the same. But with 3 kids, some of you can do it, I'm not doubting that, but maybe 3 kids you might not be able to do it every single day. So what I suggest, and normally which work with my clients, are that when you go for shower, take extra 10 minutes in the shower.
I like the idea.
Yeah, I mean, otherwise, what would you do? When you are trying to talk to your friend, or when you are trying to do some form of exercise, some form of yoga, meditation, mindfulness practice, or even for that matter, cooking, rearrange your schedule with your husband. That at one time when you are any activities which is therapeutic for you, you must extend that for extra 5 to 10 minutes. When you are in the shower, or even when you are putting your cream and everything, just play some soothing music, no songs, soothing music, and it's your world in those like 10, 15, 20, 30 minutes. That is something you can do. Second, if you can do, teach kids mommy time, daddy time. Kids must learn this, and very early on. Otherwise, it can become a bigger issue when they grow up a little bit. If they don't know those boundaries, that this is mommy time and mommy time means mommy time, that no disturbance, this can create more situation. So slowly, steadily, try your best to teach your kids that this is mommy time or this is daddy time, and this is how it's going to be. If nothing else, when you go for a grocery shopping, if you are going and if it is safe, for that matter, in Colorado, when you go to grocery shopping, sit in the car for extra 5-10 minutes. You are not on the clock all the time, that if you went for grocery shopping, you have to do grocery and you have to rush home because the home will fall apart when you are not there. It's not going to happen. So when you are there, sit for extra 10 minutes. When you do your grocery shopping, or on the day when you are working, when you come home, you park your car on a driveway, sit there in your car for 5-10 minutes, take a breather, do some deep breathing exercises. And actually there is one exercise which maybe I can do it a little bit later, that can instantly help you to release some stress. Just
Absolutely. We would like to do those exercises. In fact, club them together.
Okay.
Mommy time exercise, if you want to display right now, you're most welcome to do so.
Sure.
That is topic centric right now, because you can always show that exercise.
So here is one of my favorite exercises, and anybody, especially moms that I'm working with, even people who are, women who are not moms or parents who are not dads, they know this exercise. Every single person that I work with, they know this exercise. So Stuti, if you can see me and all the viewers, I would love you to do it with me so that you can actually remember how to do it. And it's very simple. Anybody can do it. So we all are going to sit straight for next few minutes, as straight as possible, but firm, but not like stiff. And now we are going to, I will close my eyes. This is my habit for years.
And I'll watch you. Okay.
Yes.
All
So
right.
we close our eyes, and we are simply going to try to breathe in from the belly. Instead of breathing from chest, try to breathe in from the belly if you can, about 5 times. So here we go. Breathe in, breathe out, just like a little baby. Breathe in, breathe out. When you are breathing in, your belly is out. When you are breathing out, your belly is in. Make sure you are not doing the opposite. So breathe in, belly out. Breathe out, belly in. And now we will do the exercise. So breathing practice, if you are doing this for the first time, it might take you some time to get it straightened up. If you have ever seen a baby breathing, babies always breathe from the belly. And that is one of the healthiest way of breathing. You look at your pets, they know how to breathe. So follow them, right? So that was the centering point. Now comes the exercise. All I would like you to do is simply raise your shoulders all the way up to the ears like that, as high as possible. Continue to breathe normally, no need to deep breathe. And now bend your head all the way backwards. Still continue to breathe. Now open your mouth, drop your jaw, drop your tongue to the bottom of the mouth. Continue to breathe up to 10 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Now very slowly, carefully bring your shoulders all the way down, face back, and deep breathe. Did you feel anything at all over here?
Excellent.
Any tingling or anything? So this is a sample. You have to do this exercise about 5 times in a row. And then you will start to, basically this area takes maximum stress, especially for women and our lower back. Right. If you can just keep this area of your body relaxed, where your body and mind or brain meets, the extra blood flow, the extra oxygen flow will help you relieve any anxiety, any stress. But you must do 5 deep breaths first, and then 5 times the same exercise in a row. And then you will see, and drink a glass of water. It will help you.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Sure.
See, we have all within our body that we can manage it. We just need the right tricks.
Yes.
Rules, right guidance.
And to remember them.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, they will have to refer to the video again and again. Thank you so much. Thanks, Suruchi.
Pleasure.
Pretty impressive, informative, in fact, effective, I'll say, this exercise is. Of
Thank
course, I did
So-
partial only because I had to look at it.
Of course, that's fine. So
All right.
for the kids, so yes, kids are definitely having very difficult time because this is their time of, exploring their relationships with other kids and their teachers and the playground and the toys and the books and the music and the naps, everything. So I think one thing that can really help every single parent and kids is to keeping them on schedule as much as you can. They can have a cheat day on a Saturday and a Sunday, but on the weekdays, just because they are being homeschooled and just because we are working from home, that does not mean that we don't need a schedule. We human beings, we are conditioned, programmed since childhood to be on the schedule, whether it was our feeding time, nap time, whether it was our stroll time, any kind of time, shower time. Whenever we have gone out of schedule, we have created chaos internally as well as externally. So we need schedules, time management. If we don't have it, that is the biggest reason of stressors being stressful in anybody's life.
Suruchi, I'll take I'll ask one quick question there regarding when we speak about time, management. About sleep, I always ask this question with my experts, guests. So what do you suggest about sleeping? Kids are not getting tired, and middle schoolers and high schoolers are ending up waking up, being awake till 12 or 1 a.m. at night. And that concerns the parents, of course.
Yes.
Screen exposure to unknown contact is extreme. The stress is there amongst parents about they cannot police the kids, constantly. What should be done?
Well, when kids are younger, I think up to junior school, it's still, parents should be able to control a lot more because by then I think kids still listen. When it comes to high schooler, instead of making them disciplined completely, it's better to sit with them and talk to them and actually negotiate with them. If they want to sleep at 12, which is extremely unhealthy, but okay, I get it, right? So if they want to sleep at 12, then in teens, every teen should be able to sleep for good 8 to 10 hours actually, because their bodies are going through a lot of changes, and they need that sleep. So if they sleep at 12, if they are not willing to move that time because probably they are getting connected with their friends at that time, you can negotiate that, okay, you can sleep at 12, but then after that, your phones need to be either in the living room or in the study. You cannot sleep with your phone. And when we wake up in the morning, or, there has to be some kind of a parental control on that.
Right.
Because if we can give them all the freedom, but if the phones and the screen time, and if they know that they can get away with it, they will find lots of ways to get away with it. So it is talk to the high schoolers, sit on a dining table, face to face, talk to them that this is what we are going to do. Is it okay? Can you do it better? But one thing that I will tell you is that if you are making rules for your kids, you must follow those rules.
Absolutely.
I have seen plenty of time in the family sessions where kids themselves will say that they make rule, we are doing it, they are not doing it. So what's wrong with it?
Absolutely. Monkey see, monkey do. So imitation happens. We have to set the right example. Absolutely correct.
Yes.
Parents too have to, behave there.
Yes. And, otherwise, maybe as a family, people can engage in some kind of online exercise form, a family exercise hour. Because otherwise, if you say, you should do exercise, you should do this, you should do yoga, they're not going to listen to it. If you do as a family activity, at least you have a higher chances of doing it. And absolutely. I know one thing for sure, when we do exercise, we are much happier, we sleep better because then we eat well. So, and we don't get frustrated or angry that easily. But if we have that power over here and we don't have a lot of stuff to do and body is not tired, they're not going to sleep. And then of course, watch their sugar and coffee intake. If they are Sugar will play havoc with your brain.
So we have to limit the sugar for our kids,
Oh, yes.
teenagers, high schoolers,
Yes.
preschoolers, or whatever, elementary school kids.
Yeah.
So this is one thing. A higher intake will create more mental activity in them, or what happens exactly?
Sugar actually, I'll quickly try to explain in few words. So when we eat sugar, there are good and bad bacteria in our brain, basically,
Wow.
in our gut.
Right, good. Okay.
So when we eat sugar, sugar literally starts to eat the good bacteria, which means our body becomes full of bad bacteria. And when our gut is full of bad bacteria, it will affect your brain functioning almost immediately.
Oh my
And
God.
the quick example will be, have you ever given a candy to a child and you see how they turn into like a chopper, right?
Absolutely.
That's a clear example of that. So fruit sugar is good, but if you are eating candies, cupcakes, bagels,
Cookies.
that's where things go wrong. So sugar is not good for our gut. It's
Wow.
not good for our brain.
Thank you. This is very informative there. We would have never thought from that perspective of good and bad bacteria and they just hitting our brain directly. Thank you. So
Sure.
we as a family have to limit our sugar intake for sure.
If you can do it, you will see there are major benefits, and even caffeine for that matter. Caffeine, I know a cup of coffee or a tea or chai that we drink in our South Asian community, it's all good. But if we try to live off caffeine, a day's work, if I don't get my coffee, like second, third cup, I cannot function. Okay, but do you even realize that why it is do you need that amount of coffee to function? One cup of tea, coffee, I get it, but 3 cups. Don't you think so? There is a deficiency in the body that your body is demanding for a kick, which is always temporary, and because after that we crash.
Absolutely.
So we need to stop, self-reflect, and think about what am I doing to myself, especially to my heart and to my brain, every time when we do these or take these artificial things: sugar, caffeine, salt, sodium.
Excellent. Thank you so much for these inputs, Suruchi. In fact, we were supposed to go for a 1-hour session. If you allow, I would like to stretch it further because
Sure, we can do
people
it.
are definitely wanting to, hear, they want to hear more. We have still not touched the topic of COVID-related stress. Of course, there is one part of COVID-related stress. Thanks to Stuti for asking that question. But having said that, now we have to explore about the stress, imaginary stress, real stress that is building up because of the fear. Fear kills.
Yes.
That stress, how do we break away from that is a must thing that we need to talk right now.
I think knowledge is the first thing that can really help for all of us to know like what is real and what is not happening. I know there is a very conflicted information floating around on the net. So if you are learning about COVID, at least try and stick to some trustworthy websites. I know there is a lot of conflict in those two, but still. And second, what I highly recommend is try not to, don't make it a habit that when you wake up in the morning and first thing you want to check it, what are the numbers? I came across so many my clients and my friends and family who every single day they wake up, the first thing they do is switch on news. Why? When we sleep, when we wake up in the morning, our brains are fresh. We have a reset button. And when we have a reset button, this is what you want to feed it. It's almost like a newborn baby. Our brain is almost like a newborn baby. Cleansing happened at night. So imagine a newborn baby is fed with the junk food. That's what we do to our brain when first thing we do is we switch on news. So stay away from news for first 1 hour when you wake up. If you cannot wait for 1 hour, at least first 30 minutes. Drink a glass of water or a couple of glasses of water. Drink your tea, coffee, whatever you need to do. Sit outside. Be with your thoughts. Be with you.
Right.
And then if you have to, read the news, there is read the numbers. I'll give you an example. There are lots of TV anchors who are wonderful, but there are few TV anchors who add so much emotion in that. I'll say, if, for example, if I want to say like New Jersey has, let's say, 80,000 cases, and but we are saving a lot of lives. Some TV anchors will try to make it like New Jersey have so many cases, and people who are already anxious, it affects them. So
True.
if you want to know the truth, but don't buy into the emotions. Keep your emotions.
Excellent point there. You don't buy into the emotion.
Yes.
Know
Keep
the
your
truth.
remote control with you.
Very nice.
Yes. So that is, so not watching news, keeping your emotions, not buying the emotions, not, and before sleeping also, please don't watch news before sleeping. Lots of people do that. It will not help you. And even if you are a social media kind of a person, which I believe these days almost everybody is, if you think there are lots of negative messages on your social media, social media is for your comfort. You can limit the use of it. I'm nobody to say that, stay off social media, but you can limit it. It's a button that was
True.
given to us. We bought that.
Agreed.
Nobody forced us. So limit the use of social media, the news, and engage in positive activity. Talk to your family, friends. Remember old days. Share old stories. There are so many things we can do sitting at home.
Very nice. Thank you. Thank you for those valuable inputs, because all these are small things to note, but then when we follow them, they make a lot of difference in our lives.
Huge difference they make.
So, Richi, some more exercises you would like to share, de-stressing ourselves. And I know, I may have to invite you for another session because
Anytime.
still, I don't want to let you go. Of course, we have time constraints. Some more exercises, de-stressing yourself.
Sure.
From that perspective, which may boost immunity in ourself, give us mental immunity, I will say that way, psychological immunity.
Sure. So like a few minutes back, I said, first, check your schedule. Are you living a chaotic life internally and externally? That needs to be corrected almost immediately. Very important. Second, do you even have one tool for your self-care? If you are not, that's not fair with yourself. We are all intelligent, smart, hardworking people, but if our self-care is not there, and self-care can mean anything: sleeping 7 to 8 hours, doing meditation, practicing any form of mindfulness that you would like to, reading, gardening, listening to music, singing, but you must engage in some activity of self-care to help yourself. Other thing that you can do is to take care of yourself, drink lots of water. About 8 glasses of water will also help you to reduce your stress. And actually, I read somewhere, so I read somewhere that drinking a glass of water before shower can also help reduce the blood pressure.
Wow,
it's worth trying. If it doesn't work, you don't have to try, but please try that for a week. There are chances that it can help you, right? Because stress also increases the blood pressure. Blood pressure also leads to stress. So some things like that. Decluttering can help a lot. And when I talk about decluttering, I'm also talking about decluttering internally, decluttering your environment, specifically your desk, your cabinets, your car, and for women, your pocketbooks too. Because when we have things in place, it reduces our anxiety. And actually, there was a study done that when we live in clutter, it is one of a very good reason to be depressed.
Amazing.
Yes. So think of it.
Wow.
These are small things I'm suggesting. No big deals. But if you cannot do that, then reach out for help. Somebody will help you, a therapist, a coach, or somebody. But these things must be done. And of course, nature. Who cannot sit outside in a backyard or near a window if you live in an apartment or a condo? sit near a window, let the fresh air come in. Make sure when you wake up, your blinds are open in the morning. If you are a beach kind of a person, walk on the beach barefoot. The sand is very, very helpful. It grounds us.
Absolutely.
So all I'm sharing is like very basic things that you can do without pretty much needing to help from anybody else as such, and things you can do in and around your home. If you have a floor in your home which is like a real floor, not like vinyl or wooden, you can stand barefoot on it. That also has grounding capacity in it.
Very interesting.
Yes. And when you are showering, don't make it a chore. Feel the water on your hair, on your head, on your skin. Water is very calming. Instead of like doing the shower, like, okay, shampoo, everything is done, get out of it. Please don't do that.
Amazing. These are small things, and you're telling the beauty of therapy.
Yeah.
That we get through them, Amazing. Sorry, I'm breaking your flow. Carry on.
That's fine. And like I said few minutes back, for a different reason, try to relive some good, happy memories from your past. Share that with your children. Share that with your friends. Talk about it again and again. Because as a human being, the way we are built, especially in this time, we have tendency more to remember negative events of our lives.
True.
But I say, if we have made it so far, life
it's part of the blessings.
So bad. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So relive, talk about it, write about it. Find friends, find old friends. It is very therapeutic, because whenever we are thinking positive, whenever we are hugging a near dear one, our body release serotonin, our body release oxytocin. These are wonderful chemicals that we need on daily basis. We need the dosage. Laugh. Sometimes I watch cartoon. I mean, you can laugh at me if you want.
No, but then that's how. Bring the child in you. That's the best version of yourself.
Yes. It's just, so we must laugh at least 1 to 2 times per week, if not more. And if we are not doing it, then that's not fair to yourself.
Very nice.
So few quick things you can do just sitting at home.
Amazing tips, Suruchi. I am very, very thankful to you. Thank you so much. Intense, small things that we can easily do.
Yes.
So intense they are. They have a heavy impact on therapy. Wow.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Pleasure.
So, Suruchi, it's been an excellent day, excellent session, but I will have to come back to you to schedule one more session, because the holistic approach of Ayurveda, of course, the yogic kriyas, we've not explored them. And we just spoke about stress, a part of stress. In fact, today, it was completely not covered because of our time constraints. I may have to revisit, coming back on the topic, some more things. Before you close, one question that, eats away our lives is something that nags us. Something that is persistently stressful to us. Could be a job condition, could be a family situation, could be anything. Something that's becoming overwhelming. Something that leads to domestic violence. Something that leads to abuse of self and others. Something that rejects the notion of self. That perspective, that ending note, that input is a must before I leave. I don't mind if we extend some time. This one point that eats away your life, and every day that person talks about it, every day. There are cases, there are situations in people's lives, in their job's life, that they will crib about the same situation day in, day out, hour in, hour out. We need to get to the root of it to get a treatment there. What would be the possible suggestion there?
So I think to begin with, when people are in domestic violence situation, in my experience, I would say that people come to therapists when they have tried almost everything in their capacity and it has not worked. So, which is a good thing. So going to a professional, a person who is neutral, who is not on either person's side, can actually help you explore that why that behavior is re-emerging every single day. Sometimes it can be a behavior learned from the childhood. I don't know, from maybe the person was bullied or abused at home, or a teacher did that too, or something like that. Or sometimes people also engage in abusive behavior because they have slight or moderate narcissism in them. Basically, they are the most important. Everything revolves around them, and as long as their needs are being met, everything else doesn't matter. So this is what a therapist can help explore, that where it is coming from, and how come the person, being an adult especially, is not clear about the humane boundaries, that you just cannot touch another person, which I'm talking about physical abuse. Then there is also emotional and verbal abuse. So there are, and of course, sexual abuse too. There is a lot goes in, how should I say? There's a lot goes in it when a person is engaging in this behavior from the person who is abusing and the person who is on the receiving end, the victim, what I call it.
Right.
So why the victim is constantly taking the abuse? Is the victim made to realize that he or she is not important, or he or she, her principles and values and life does not matter? Or is it because usually the usual behavior of an abuser is the person will first make the other person believe that in some form that you are not important, your needs don't matter, and I am the most important person. So if the person starts to believe and continue to take and do not stand up, or stand up and again goes back to the same behavior, I'm talking about the victim, that enables the abuser to continue with the behavior.
True.
And that enabling is where the dangerous spot happens. So that's why, at least in this country, and now even in India also, in this country, if somebody is engaging in any kind of domestic violence, I would highly recommend call 911. There is a help available, and they will connect you to the right resources if there is any domestic violence taking place. And if there is any emotional, verbal violence also happening, that also needs to stop, because that can be more dangerous. Reason being, there are no signs of it.
Very true.
So that is more dangerous, more intense, and it affects to deep inside the spirit, if I can say that. So yes, it's a very important territory, and we need to know. And actually, just on my one thing, there is, if you Google, and for viewers also, if you Google, there is a wheel of violence.
Wheel of violence.
Wheel of violence.
Okay.
It shows that how a person will abuse the other person, and then will apologize, and then will say, oh, I love you, and romantic, and then let's go to a church and temple. And when they see that the victim is falling back on the line that they made, again, another event happens. So it's called violence, wheel of
violence. Repetitive.
Yes.
They calm it down, they'll say sorry, apologize, and then they'll do the same thing again and again and again and again.
Yeah.
Very true. Very true.
It's a psychological, behavioral issue, and emotional issue, which...
Can these narcissists be treated psychologically through therapy, like people like you? Can they treat?
There is no cure, as per my information, but the behavioral improvements can be done, and they are very amazing.
Awesome, awesome.
They have to be done by professional. Yes.
Thank you, Suruchi. You are showing a light to many people right now when we are talking about all these important issues. So yes, I mean, this was the point, where I wanted at least more inputs nagging and all those things, where persistently negative only is spoken about, talked about.
Yeah.
That kills everybody's life. Everybody in the family dies,
Yes, very true. All I can say is like if one person in the family is stressed, and these days families are smaller, we are 3 or 4 or at the most 5
Right.
people.
Right.
If one person is stressed, it will affect other people one way or the other. So it is very, very important for us to take care of ourselves. And like I said, all simple ways that you can take care of yourself. You don't even have to do, I'm not asking you to go to a 5-day retreat. I'm not asking you to take a 7-day vacation. Just in your home, see what you can do. And we come from such a rich culture, whether we have ever practiced yoga or not, unknowingly we have practiced yoga. We have
Very
practiced karma, everything. So that's how it
Interesting. Excellent information. And I'm so grateful to you for, sparing your time. I know you were completely booked throughout the day. In fact, 15 minutes before that also, you were attending to one of your patients. And this is a great social service you're doing today. I must say that I'm thankful for that. We at MANA TV would like to thank you for your time for this. So
Right.
we will come back with some more topics next time. We will talk about stress, anxiety disorder in kids, of course, and how we can amicably treat that. And of course, before we leave, please give a brief input about how people can reach out to you in case they are looking for counseling and the therapy that they need in this tower of distress, about your organization, so that they can still connect with you. And of course, we will schedule another session. So please.
Absolutely. I would be happy to do stress management too.
Absolutely.
Right. So to connect with me, if you are looking for, any kind of family counseling, couples, professional, or any kind of coaching for life skills, you can either email me at suruchi@holisticbonfire.com, or you can simply go to my website, holisticbonfire.com. There is a contact page and you can fill up your information and I will get the email within no time. You can also call me at 908-376-9036. Again, website is holisticbonfire.com. I'm doing
holisticbonfire.com.
Yes, simple, holisticbonfire.com. So I would be happy to help anybody who would need any kind of help. So you are very welcome to email me or call me.
Excellent session today, Suruchi. Thank you so much for your time. We will definitely reconnect on a lot of pending things, and I know you do a lot of good work for the community, and I'll be lucky to have your appointment again. Sure. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Appreciate. Thank you so much. And my dear viewers, I know I cross the boundaries of time when I know something relevant is going on. Suruchi has given an excellent input about stress management, and it varied from different topics, from kids in home, under lockdown situation, the parents, and of course the life that we have as usual, what goes around in the body during stress, how it impacts our entire body, not just the mind and emotional health, and of course about domestic abuse situation and the negativity that comes in, how it can be resorted to, and the exercises. Definitely, we spoke about them. We did not do all the exercises today. We will come back with those holistic exercises in the next session because we had constraint of time today. But yes, we will come back more empowered and more informed with people like Suruchi and many other guides, who can keep the spirit and sentiment of our community stronger, happier, and healthier. So we say bye for now, but we will come back again with another important and interesting topic. Till then, stay safe, stay strong, stay happy, stay blessed. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Suruchi.
Thank you. Pleasure.